Hello, welcome to Open Heat Loss. I'm Simon. I'm the developer of this heat loss and system design tool, which is kind of building all the time because it's gone from just heat loss to system design to also project management. But at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm just going to give you an introduction here of the free version where you can either complete the project without any registration at all, or you can register for free with just your name and email address, no mountains of personal information or anything like that, and develop your own project. Now, the history of open heat loss is, well, it's a fairly long one. Now, when I started off with heat loss and system design, I wasn't actually a heating engineer. I was building my own home and I wanted an energy efficient system to match my energy efficient home. And I spent a lot of days and weeks on the phone to various different companies and outfits in my region. And I really struggled to find anybody that I could trust to do the system design for me. Uh, and uh, and so I set about learning how to do it myself. So what I did is I simply went out and bought myself a copy of the industry standard, which is the Chartered Institute of Building Services Engineers Domestic Heating Design Guide, and read that. And then, in order to help me to build my system and be able to model it and play around with it rather than do everything manually on pen and paper, I built a spreadsheet. One thing led to another. I designed, installed, commissioned my system, and then I became a heating engineer. And I started using my spreadsheet for projects, and then found over time it just got a little bit too unwieldy and difficult, particularly when I was trying to juggle multiple projects and multiple spreadsheets and so on. So I set about developing this application for my own internal use. Now, why would I do anything like that? You might ask. Well, I also went out when I was looking for a tool to help me, is I went out into the market to look at heat loss tools that I could subscribe to and use for my business. And each and every one of those, while good in their own right, and I'm not criticizing the developers in any way whatsoever, because every developer has their own view about how to put something together and implement it. None of these really satisfied my wants and needs. So with each and every one of them, I found pain points that over time really grated with me. And so I then just made the decision to develop my own tool. And so this is a tool that I use professionally. It is predominantly designed to support the design and development of systems for heat pumps, and therefore it is all put together to comply with the MCS and Ofgem requirements for the bus grant, so that you know that if you design a system using this application, it will satisfy those requirements and those standards. Now, the second reason why I developed this tool was that all of the other tools are closed source. Now, when I was building some of the models of buildings and projects that I wanted to design for, I found that it wasn't always entirely clear the assumptions and the calculations that were actually being made in the background by these tools. And sometimes I found some limitations in terms of how they implemented ways in which I could model spaces. So, for example, one of those was, how do I manage to deal with vaulted ceilings in a CAD based, drawing based type of app? The other issue is limitations on things like underfloor heating system, and sometimes being contained or constrained in what I did. So with all of those, I then decided that I'm a big fan of open source software. I use open source software for almost everything that I do. And therefore, I decided to build a tool that was open source and transparent so that anybody who uses this tool does not need to go out and spend several £100,000 on buying a copy of the BSEN 12831 standard that is basically now the UK standard for heat loss designs. I thought that's a little bit inaccessible for most people. So I decided that I wanted to do something that was more accessible and more easily verifiable. So what I've done is, although I have used as the basis of this application, I have used the BSEN 12831 standards and the latest, which is the one that's implemented in the UK, which is of 2017. I also decided then that to make this even more accessible, I have implemented the CIBSE Domestic Heating Design Guide 2026 reduced method. Now, why is this more accessible? It's more accessible because you can go and buy a copy. I think it's about £55 or £60 from CIBSE directly, either as a PDF download or as a physical copy. And with that, what you can do is you can run through a calculation using the Domestic Heating Design Guide and the included sheets that you get and follow the method on this app absolutely to the T. So it contains all of the steps that are in the Domestic Heating Design Guide. So that means that it is fairly accessible for you to be able to verify the calculations and the outputs that are coming from openheatloss.com. That was really what I wanted to achieve. Now, of course, there are some aspects that are a little bit more complex. So, for example, the underfloor heating output calculator uses a standard and methodology and some fairly complex maths behind it. But if you want to verify the outputs of that, you can also go and buy yourself a design guide for underfloor heating, which has tables in it that you can verify the outputs that are produced by this application by openheatloss.com as well. So with all of these sorts of things, the information's there for you to be able to verify if you want to do so. And then if you want to interrogate the code and all of the calculations that I'm doing in openheatloss.com, you can also do that because this is published on GitHub like all proper open heat loss sort of open source software is. So yeah, I use this on a day-to-day basis with projects. I do have a slightly enhanced version of this, which is a project management system, which has a Kanban project management screen and everything like that. And I will at some point be launching that for heating engineers. It's coming out very soon. But at the moment, I'm just doing some final bug fixing on it to make sure that it's as robust and complete as I can possibly make it. And I'm also making some refinements to openheatloss.com to make it a little bit more sort of a little bit smoother in terms of the workflow as you go through a heat loss calculation. So there you go. There is an introduction. I'm hoping it's comprehensive enough and gives you a good background to why, what, and how. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with a load of videos now that will take you through how to complete a heat loss and system design successfully using openheatloss.com. So in the next video, we are going to move on to inputting project info and we're going to take it from there. So thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments, questions or anything like that, please leave them below this video and I will answer those for you. If you've got any feedback on the app itself, please also leave that because I'm always interested in understanding how I can enhance and make this tool a lot better. So there we go, introduction for you, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video covering project info. So thank you very much.